They say your first $100,000 is the hardest, and they're absolutely right. Ask anyone who's ever built wealth from nothing. Ask the investors, the business owners, the ones who started with a couple $100 in their checking account and turned it into something real. They'll all tell you the same thing. That first $100,000 feels like climbing a mountain with your bare hands. But here's what's fascinating. Once you reach it, the next 100,000 seems to appear out of nowhere, then another, and another. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's math, psychology, and a little bit of momentum all working together. My name's Chris, and I teach people about money, personal finance, and building wealth that actually lasts. So today, let's unpack why the first $100,000 is brutally hard and why the next one starts to feel almost effortless. The brutal beginning. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. The first stage of wealth creation isn't financial, it's mental. It's the phase where every dollar saved feels meaningless, where progress is so small you wonder if it's even real. You save $50 this week, then another $100 next week. Then you check your account and realize you've barely scratched the surface. It's discouraging. And most people quit right here. They think, what's the point? I'll never get there. But that's because in the beginning, your growth is linear. You are the engine. Every cent comes from your sweat, your overtime hours, your restraint to not blow money on temporary pleasures. And when you're the engine, everything feels heavy. You're not yet benefiting from momentum, from compound interest, from leverage. You're dragging the whole thing uphill by yourself. It's not glamorous, it's not fun, it's the unsexy, invisible grind that separates people who stay broke from people who eventually become free. Why it feels so slow. There's a reason why it takes so long, and it's not that you're doing something wrong, it's because of the way compound growth works. Compound growth doesn't reward you early. It rewards you later, massively, but only after you've done years of thankless work. When you invest your first $5,000, a 10% return is just $500. That's barely noticeable. It's the cost of a nice dinner and a few groceries. So your brain doesn't care. It doesn't feel progress. But once that same $100,000 earns 10%, you suddenly see $10,000 appear without lifting a finger. And at $1 million, that same 10% is $100,000. That's the cruel irony. The more you have, the faster it grows. But to get to that more, you have to grind through years of what feels like nothing. It's like pushing a snowball uphill. For a long time, it barely grows. But once it gets big enough, gravity takes over. Suddenly, the snowball doesn't need your full strength. It rolls by itself. Your job early on is to keep pushing, even when it feels like you're not moving at all. The invisible phase everyone quits in. Most people never hit $100,000 not because it's impossible, but because they misinterpret the slow phase. They think slow progress means wrong strategy. They start chasing get-rich schemes, jumping between investments, or spending just to feel results. But that quiet, almost invisible stage where growth is crawling is where the real transformation happens. That's where you develop discipline. That's where you learn to say no to short-term gratification. That's where you start identifying what truly matters financially and what's just noise. You're not just building a bank account. You're building a mindset that can handle wealth. Because without that mindset, even if someone gave you $100,000 tomorrow, you'd lose it. This stage is supposed to be hard. It's the filter. When momentum finally kicks in. At some point, and it feels almost random, something shifts. Your savings start growing faster. Your investments finally start compounding. You realize you've been building leverage this whole time. Your money is now earning money for you. You no longer need to fight for every dollar. The system starts to help you out. It's the same principle that governs almost every form of success. The first step is manual. The next is mechanical. And then it becomes exponential. Once you have $100,000 invested, a good year in the market can do for you more than all the overtime hours you worked in your first year combined. That's the power of momentum. It multiplies effort after the effort's already been done.